How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Eddie Star Tarot, and for those who are new, welcome to my channel. You guys, today I'm going to be doing a more spiritually oriented reading. I call them Spiritual Fridays. This is meant to take you guys through the ascension process, and today I'll just be focusing on one portion of that. But yeah, I talk about spiritual concepts, things that even if the general idea, you guys have already done it or you've gone through it, the things that I talk about can be activating. So this is just meant to raise higher consciousness and yeah, just to spread that loving vibe and to bring wisdom and knowledge to other people. So Tauruses, I will be tapping into two oracles. The first oracle is going to be the White Light Oracle. And the second one is the Secret Language of Light. So I like to start off, you guys, with the downloads that I get, the lesson that I want to get across, and then I tell it by a story. So get ready for story time. I will, after I give you my story, then I will get into the card reading. So for the first part of this, you guys, we're going to talk about coming out spiritually, or choosing a definitive path. And then we're going to talk about standing in your own authenticity and honoring your truths. And then the last thing we're going to touch on is judgment. So I say it like this, you guys. In my experience, I often talk about my recovery, because one of the cycles that I was on repeat and that I couldn't get out for a very long time, it was almost like a curse, an entrapment. I couldn't get out of that labyrinth. I didn't have the key, and it was like an enigma to me for so long. It was, and I dealt with the alcoholic and drug addiction cycle for a very long time. But when I finally figured out how to stop it, or to stop the cycle, That's breaking. That was the first part of it, breaking that. And then 6 months later, you guys, I started to begin to have this spiritual awakening. The interesting thing, though, is when I had the spiritual awakening and I started to getting all the downloads and listening to the guidance, there was this part, and you guys, I didn't have a mentor to guide me through it, so I had to learn it the hard way. The beautiful part about me doing this on Fridays for you guys is that it's going to help you, just ease you a little bit more through it. The funny thing about this, you guys, is that even if someone gives you the advice and gives you the guidance, one, it's going to be difficult to listen to because of your focus. Another is, two, is like, sometimes you can give someone guidance, but it still won't help them, because when we're actually applying it or we're in the experience, it's very difficult to listen to reason, right? But ideally, this would help you through it. Okay, guys, so getting to brass tacks. Tauruses, there was a point, and you'll find yourself on this point as well, where you walk the line, where you're dabbling your toes in you're possibly on the fence, where you don't know which path to take, or you're dabbling your toes in spirituality and also back into the matrix. What do I mean by this? You're possibly doing old habits. Maybe you guys are dealing with alcoholism or drug addiction in some form. Maybe it is codependency. Maybe it's bad relationships. It just depends. I know by the readings that I do that you guys are struggling with some things. Also, Tauruses, you know that you're spiritual. You have awakened. You wouldn't be on this channel if you weren't. So at this point, your guides or your spirit team, I've come into your experience for a reason, right? And that reason is to activate you and move you along. One of the most daunting experiences that you can do in this lifetime is stay in the middle. It's one of the most difficult things to do. I did this for quite some time, and I did it because I was too afraid to get judged. And we'll get to that, and also honoring myself. I would implore you guys to, even if you want to go back to the matrix, or you want to take that blue pill or green or red pill, right? If you want to go on the ascension process and keep moving along, staying in the middle is not going to be of service to you. choose to go back or choose to move forward. Ideally, choose to move forward. Take that path that is hard to take, because I promise you the results will be much better and you will thank yourself in retrospect. Take my word for it. But you making a decision is necessary. For me, you guys, that cycle of alcoholism and drug addiction, because I didn't want to honor the guilt, the shame, the fear. I didn't want the pain of my past to come back to because feeling my pain was worse than me actually being in pain of drinking. But I kept choosing to go down that path until at some point where deterioration happened in my life, homelessness, all those bad things started to begin in my life. People didn't want to deal with me anymore. And then eventually I said, I don't want to be here on earth. And then it got to a point where I had to make that decision. Wait a minute. I need to choose to get better. So I decided to take the other road. And then that's when my journey began. I realized that there were many cycles. That's just one cycle, right? I don't know how it shows up for you. Maybe it does resonate my story completely, right? But after you guys make this definitive decision, there's this process of honoring yourself, honoring the spirituality that's within you. That it's not just the way that they've told you to be. That's the most difficult part about this. I say most difficult about a lot of stuff, but it is all difficult, and I think that there's no more one difficult than the other. But let's get to the part where we start honoring our own truths and honoring ourselves. How do we do that? Well, you have to stand in what you guys want to do, right? What is your purpose? Or if you don't know what your purpose is and you don't know what I mean, it's a life purpose, right? What is it? What are the talents that you have? Are you intuitive? Are you attracted to crystal healing? Is it or do you want to be a doula? Do you want to be a Reiki master? Do you want to just make a product that you think that will help the ecosystem? Do you want to become a president? Do you want to do it with the idea that you want to bring change? Your journey is exactly how you're supposed to do it. And I always say, the way that you know is that your heart will sing. Your heart will sing and you'll be afraid to do it. It'll give you butterflies. It's usually what's burned in you. It's passion, it's desire. That beauty is what God blesses us with. Those are the inclination as to what is on your chart. What is your path, your blueprint? That is your life purpose. Follow your heart and follow the stars, and I promise you'll get to that life purpose. Also, look up your life path number. Check out a natal chart. I'm going to give you those little tidbits. But you have to do it out loud, you guys. I always say there's three platforms in which we learn and live. We have the spiritual experience, we have the mind experience, we have the throat chakra experience where we talk, and then, so there's the mind, body, and spirit. So what's happening in the spirit realm is coming down because you've asked for it. And now it's in your mental state. And then you speak it, and then your actions run in tandem. When all three of those states are running together, that's when you're working in harmony with creation. Well, let's get back to the people around you. Because one of the things that you have to learn very quickly is that you're going to have to set up boundaries. And you're going to have to set boundaries, Tauruses, for the people that are around you. It's friend groups, family groups, just people that are close to you. The unfortunate thing, you guys, is that you've probably gone through this process where you've been judged in the past, right? And that's why you're afraid to be truthful and live in your most honest truth. And also, you guys, most people aren't walking this path. You do see this high level of mass consciousness shifting, right? Where people are awakening. You see a lot of that content out. But I'll let you know this. There's a lot more people that aren't awake than that people are awake. So I'm telling you that the mission that you have is very important. It's highly important. But the people around you right now, there's people around you that are keeping you stuck and stagnant. Whether they know they're doing it or they actually do know or don't know, it just depends. One of the ways is to figure out how this is working is to set up boundaries. And I say this in every one of my readings in this zodiac, in this lesson, because this is going to help you gauge who's for you and who's not for you. when you set up a boundary, you're going to realize, especially with family, this is how I learned with family members who is about me and who's not. I ended up figuring out that there was a lot more not with me, right? And the way that we do this, you guys, is that you have to, for me, I started setting up boundaries when they would overstep, when they would make fun of, scapegoat, breadcrumb, right? There's many different things that they do. Gang stalk, right? There's just different ways that they go about it. When you start saying, stop breadcrumbing me, stop gaslighting me, learn these terms because they're going to be of service to you. Learn narcissistic tactics. Learn the dependency issues. Learn codependent relationships. Learn symbiotic relationships. Learn parasitic relationships. Because then it's going to give you a better inclination as to what you should stop doing with other people. Taurus says one of the big things here, you guys, is that when you set up the boundaries, it's going to have a group of people fall away. That's going to be your first wave. And then there's your second wave. You guys, this is the most difficult part because these people, some of them know it because some of them are awakened. Remember this. I'm going to give you a tidbit of advice, Taurus. If you are a magical being and you have these gifts, if you're psychic, and I believe that you are, you have these visions, maybe dreams, you pick up on vibes. There are other family members that have the same gifts or have other gifts. They just haven't told you yet. So you have to remember, how are they utilizing those gifts? Remember this. They're called karmics at the end of the day, right? Karmic can be your own damn mother. I'm just gonna let you know that. This, to me, I had to learn this stuff the hard way. So I'm letting you know. I can tell you this stuff, you guys, and you're gonna want to bottle it down and not want to address it. But on this path, eventually you will address it. So that's just the way it is. There's a second wave of people that are addicted to your energy. They're harvesting off of you. They could be manipulating your energy, but they're manifesting through you as well. Also, you guys, you might not know what I'm talking about, but it will come to you guys later. I'm just trying to drop seeds and activate you on certain levels. One of the things that you need to realize is that the currency on this earth is the number one currency that we believe is money, but it's not. It's energy. Whatever you focus your energy, your attention on, is what you receive. The same thing goes to say is your energy. If the closer you are to the source energy, the more powerful you are. Think about it. The closer you get to the source energy, the more powerful you are. 1 second, guys. The closer you are to, I'm going to explain it to you like this. This is source energy. The further you get away from it, the more distorted it becomes. The closer you get to it, the more powerful you are. If I just told you you're chosen, right? You're a chosen being. You have a purpose on this earth. There are other beings that know that. Way before you did. So with that being said, you guys, Tauruses, it's who of you guys to get the enemy out of your camp, right? So they know that your energy is something that they're addicted to. You will find this in lovers. You'll find this. It's not just one part of your life. It's happening in all parts of your life. It could be happening at work. It can happen at work. It could happen in your love relationships. You'll know this. You'll know this by this, you guys. Indicators. They're usually, it's a parasitic relationship. Check out what parasitic relationships are. Also, Taurus, they need to make attachments to your energy. They've been working on you for a very long time. This is why when people fall away or you start making boundaries and you tell people to go away, you become more powerful. That's going to be a major activation for somebody. All right, guys, let's move into the part of judgment, and then we'll get into your reading. This is difficult too as well because oftentimes, you guys, we have to realize this. If you can spot something in someone else, is because you got it. If you spot it, you got it. And most of the times we have a very hard time about evaluating our own selves. It's called introspective, shadow work, inventory. It just depends on what community you talk to at any given moment, but it's all the same thing. One of the things that you have to recognize is that you do what your family does. There is a dark side to you and a light side to you. You have utilized your powers in the past to hinder people. Now we talk about that path again, the light path, this other path. If you're choosing this path, you have to resonate, or you higher vibrations, higher consciousness, and you have to walk this path in a certain way. The divine has rules for this, right? And one of the difficult parts for us is to acknowledge that we have done the same things as these people, but we are shifting and transmuting it. When you walk away from that lifestyle, these people are going to be pissed that you did it. Especially if they're attached to this old idea of you. I'm going to give you an example of this. And I say this to you guys because it's going to resonate on some level. For me, one of the things is that I was an alcoholic or drug addict, right? And now I'm in recovery. So often, these ones that were addicted to my energy and they were filtering off of me, they still do to this day. One of the ways that they do this, you guys, is they tell other people, he's on drugs. Listen to what he's saying. Look at him. He's talking about magic, the devil. And then they say, well, he's reading tarot. He is the devil, right? It's certain programming like that. Also, you have to remember this, you guys. These people, the way that they act with other people, because you have to remember, you guys, you've done it on some level. It's called projection. They're projecting onto you because the insufficiency that they have in themselves. But it's always been that way, especially with you, Tauruses. And I'll tell you why. Because of your energy, what you're supposed to do here. The more energy you have, the bigger the event that you're going to cause here. And there is an oppositional force, whether you believe it or not. What else am I going to say to you? So, I'm losing my train of thought. Yeah, so just keep acknowledging what that there is an oppositional force. It'll come back to me. Give me a second, Tauruses. Yeah, I lost it. But in any case, you guys, just remember, hopefully I've given you guys enough information. I forgot where I was at. This is like my 5th reading, so, and these readings are long. Let's see if it comes back to me. It's not. Let's move on. Okay, so standing in your power in judgment. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. So you guys, with this judgment thing, we've done it and other people are doing it to us now, right? Also, you can't change the perspective of other people's opinion of you. It's never going to happen. They've already showed you the reason why you're in fear in the first place is because they didn't want to be on your side to begin with. So now that you've changed the path and you've broken the curse, now they're pissed that you've done that. This is called generational curse breaking, right? This is part of the ascension process. You're going to understand this part because what happens next is now they're going to want to try to prove to everyone else. That's what they're doing. It came back to me. In order to make you look bad, they need to make sure that their perspective of what they're trying to project on you is truth. So they need to prove that you're crazy. They need to try to prove to others that what you're saying is a lie, that you're faking it, that you're actually doing low vibrational stuff. Who spends that much time on another person anyways, right? Unless they're trying to prove something about themselves. They're really telling on themselves at the end of the day. So you guys, you cannot change their perspective and know that it's full circle. At some point, when you walk away, because you will have to do that from all the people that are karmic in your life. Otherwise, you won't move forward. When you finally do make that decision, that beautiful decision, you guys, it's very difficult. But when you do it, I promise you, your world will change and shift. When you do that, yeah, like it's just going to be this whole new life. I said full circle. So it's going to go into this aspect, you guys, where eventually these people are gonna have to come back to you and ask you how you did it, because they're going through the same things that you are, and everyone in humanity is going through this spiritual process. Everyone has to ascend at some point. So I'm going to leave it at there, and we're going to get into the reading. So Spirit, what do we have? Might have to take a break after 6. Spirit, what do we have for Taurus? What do we have for Taurus? Awesome. We're going to leave it like this. Okay, so on the bottom of the deck, you guys, we have create space. When we say this, you guys, this is what we've been talking about all day. When you create space, you need to create from a space of love. All these vibrant colors on the spectrum of this card is talking about creating a space of love for yourself. And how do we do that? I just explained all of that to you. In order to create at your most high, you have to let go of an environment that's no longer of service to you. You have to move into a higher realm. Let's read the book meaning for it, because I feel like it's going to say something to you. Someone that's gotten this far in the reading needs to hear it. You could be 38 years old. It says, make room for your dreams. Create a space for new desires by learning how to be happy now. We all want certain things in our life to change, and it is up to each of us to do something about it. If you apply action from a position of truly wanting change, you will create evidence of that desire as manifestations of change. Once you notice something you would like to change, take a deep breath and say thank you. Recognizing what you want to change brings more clarity on what you would like to change, what you like to change it to. Your job is to create the space for your dreams and desires to fill. Do this and you will begin to receive direction and wisdom. Create this space by coming into balancing, meditating, focusing on the moment, or thinking of a person, animal, place, or situation that makes you smile. Feel the smile stretch through your body and relax, knowing that all you desire is on the way. You have empowered your whole being because you don't need conditions to change to feel joyous in the present. You are bathing in unconditional love, breathing it in and enjoying how good you feel. That's awesome. So you're in this position right now where you guys are creating space for you guys to evolve. And we have the nothing has gone wrong card. And I won't read the book meaning for that because I have my own interpretation of this. The nothing has gone wrong card. And we also have the peace symbol or the divine masculine, divine feminine energy here. One of the big things, you guys, also the dark side, the light side. Remember when I said that there's a part of this journey where you have to honor a part where you take 100% accountability? That's how we honor this. That's part of this ascension process. You have to do the work. If you're in recovery, you have to do the inventory. You have to do that 4th step, right? There's just depending on the community that you come from, you have to do this work in order to evolve. You need to balance out the two sides of you. Nothing has gone wrong means that you have to be appreciative of every event in your life. I wouldn't have as much wisdom or experience. I wouldn't have as much wisdom or be able to speak on the things that I speak about with the intensity and creativity that I have if what didn't happen to me happened to me. If someone gave me the decision at this point to go back in time and change what happened, unfortunately I wouldn't. I would do it the same way because the power that I have today is because of what happened. So I have to honor those processes. But if I was going through it, I can promise you this, I was crying about it. Right? Oftentimes we do that, especially if I went back to certain events and I changed it, I wouldn't be the person that I am together today. So I have to honor each one of those positions. It takes a level of maturity and a level of wisdom to get to that point, Tauruses, and I feel like that's what's going on in your journey, or you'll be asked to do that. They want you to honor every part of your journey and know that even if it seems chaotic, there are no coincidences in this world. There is even a melody within chaos. So with that being said, whether you believe it or not, it is truth. Everything is used at the end of the day, even if it's bad, even if it's the most terrible situation, it could be used to empower another person. I'll give you an example, and I'm going to leave your reading here. Remember when I said at my 6-month mark, I had a spiritual awakening and I started getting all this beautiful advice. I always equate this to the devil testing me, because you're going to have that moment as well, you guys. At the 6-month mark, my brother committed suicide. And he lost his life to the same disease that I struggle with. But I had the answer. Now, when it was happening, I remember those situations where I wanted to relapse, or I wanted to go back to old ways, and I was so sad, and it hurt me, right? But one of the major, so there is a bittersweet or a silver lining in every situation. What I'm saying is that even though we will ask ourselves, even ask God in that moment, God, why would you take my brother? Why would you allow him to do that? Why? What am I gaining? What am I to gain from this? And the interesting thing is, everything is always 20/20 in hindsight. When we look back in retrospect, we realize things that had taught me. And one of the major things that it taught me is that it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to kill a child as well. That is the curse that is on my family, but that's the curse on humanity. Also, it taught me that if I didn't speak my truth, someone could be affected by it. Because 2 months before that, I was getting intuitive messages my guides were telling me, but I wasn't evolved yet. I wasn't ready to stand in my truth yet. I was walking the fence still. And so, Taurus, is what happened to me and what happened to my brother, I feel like I could have made a change. I could have made a change in his life, because I actually had, at this point in my life, at 6 months, I was sober. I had the answers to his problem, but I didn't give him the medicine. I didn't tell him because I was embarrassed. I thought he was going to judge me. I thought he wasn't going to listen to me. I thought he was going to think I was dumb. I thought he was going to think I was a hypocrite. All those fearful things that we say to ourselves, and I blocked myself off from love, and I blocked him off from love. I still think about that in an aspect where, like, I feel like I could have done something different. I can't change time, though, right? And it still hurts a little bit, but the reason why I say this, you guys, is that the major life lesson that I brought away from that is that I will never not speak my mind. I will never not put my medicine out there for another human being, especially with addiction, especially with this spiritual game, because it's changed my life in so much of a way that I have to give it back to you guys. That is my mission, to change perspectives, to change people's hearts, to change suffering, because suffering is terrible. You don't have to go through it. It's a choice. And that was the silver lining. I'm here in front of you today, and ideally that I will reach millions of people, be able to tell them the story, his story, my story, because his story is my story. I hopefully you guys caught something from that. Tauruses, I love you. Just know that nothing has gone wrong in the process. That even if you think that you've done something wrong, God will turn even the most worst case scenarios into better cases, right? The Bible. I'm gonna say one more story and then I'll call it a reading. But think about his disciples. Some were just fishermen, right? Some of them weren't. They weren't going to do anything until God chose them, right? Think about one of the most well-renowned apostles. You think of the guy by the name of Paul, right? Who's written most of the letters in the Bible. Yet that man killed Christians. He took Christians to execute them. But yet he was chosen, got knocked off that horse, right? He was formerly known as Saul and turned into Paul. God chose him, right? He made something bad and evil and he turned it into something good, because God has no limit to what he can change in your life. Nothing has gone wrong. Keep moving forward. God loves you. God has chosen you. This path that you need to walk, make the decision. You're well on your way, Tauruses. I love you guys. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Make sure to subscribe. Help it grow, because other people need to know this information. I will see you guys tomorrow's daily. I love you.